She never expected it would happen in front of everyone. Emma Blake walked the same hallway every morning, books clutched tightly to her chest, her soft sweater sleeves pulled down to her knuckles, hiding the nervous twitches of her fingers. At 15, she was the definition of shy, the kind of girl who kept her eyes on the floor, whispered in class when called on, and said sorry even when someone else bumped into her. The hallway chatter barely noticed her. That was fine. She preferred it that way. Until the day they noticed her, for the wrong reasons. The bell had just rung. The hallway buzzed with students. Laughter. Backpacks. Locker slams. But Emma didn't hear any of it. She only heard her breath, sharp and panicked, as 3 boys cornered her near the stairwell. They were older. Bigger. Louder. She knew their names from whispered warnings around school: Logan, Bryce, and Chad, the trio that ruled the hallways and thrived on fear. "Hey, Emma," Logan sneered, leaning against the locker beside her. "You got something hiding under that sweater?" Before she could even respond, Bryce reached forward and grabbed her chest, laughing as if it were a joke. The hallway went quiet for a moment. Just long enough for Emma to feel the blood drain from her face, and the heat rush back in, blazing. She had trained for this. Not for this exact moment, no one should ever have to. But for moments where fear could make her freeze. For nights when her father gently reminded her, "Emma, you don't have to be loud to be powerful. Just know when to move." 2 years ago, after being shoved into a locker and laughed at for stuttering, Emma's dad enrolled her in Krav Maga. At first, she hated every second. The sweat. The bruises. The shouting. But slowly, the moves sank in. Her body learned what her mind had yet to believe, that she was not powerless. Back in the hallway, Bryce laughed again and tried to grab her a second time. Something snapped. Emma dropped her books. In one fluid motion, she stepped forward, slammed the heel of her palm into his nose, and twisted her hips into a powerful elbow strike against Logan's jaw. Chad tried to grab her arm from behind, but she bent forward, grabbed his wrist, and flipped him over her shoulder onto the cold tile floor. A collective gasp echoed through the corridor. The bullies groaned on the floor, stunned and humiliated. Emma stood tall. Shoulders back. Breath steady. For once, the hallway was silent, all eyes on her. No longer the girl who walked with her head down. No longer invisible. The teachers came running seconds later. The boys tried to lie, but witnesses backed Emma instantly. Cell phones captured enough to prove the truth. By lunch, the principal had suspended all 3 boys indefinitely. But what happened next was more powerful than anything Emma had done with her fists. Girls, some she barely knew, came up to her at lunch, whispering their own stories. Some had been touched, catcalled, followed. Many had said nothing, just like Emma had once done. But today, they looked at her like a light in the dark. A teacher approached her too, voice low and full of regret. "I wish I had noticed earlier. I'm proud of you for standing up." Emma didn't say much. She didn't need to. Her actions had spoken volumes. But the real challenge came days later. The whispers changed. Some called her violent. Others said she'd overreacted. The school board called Emma's father in for a meeting. There were questions about discipline, rules, even rumors of expulsion. It was overwhelming. Until the day of the school board hearing. Emma stood, knees trembling, and spoke to a packed room. Her voice cracked at first, but she kept going. "I never wanted to hurt anyone," she said. "But I was hurt. In front of everyone. And no one stopped them. I didn't fight because I was angry. I fought because I was scared. Because I needed it to stop." There was a long pause. Then, a board member, a woman with gray hair and eyes filled with emotion, stood and clapped. Others followed. The decision came quickly, no punishment. Instead, the school began mandatory self-defense awareness workshops and launched a student safety initiative. Emma didn't just defend herself. She changed the school. Months passed. Emma still walked the same halls, still wore her sweaters, still carried her books the same way. But now, when she looked up, people smiled. Nodded. Greeted her with kindness. Not because she fought. But because she showed them that courage isn't loud, sometimes, it walks softly and strikes only when it must. And deep down, Emma knew something else. The moment she stood up wasn't just about those boys. It was for every girl who'd ever felt afraid. Every person who'd stayed quiet. And every heart that needed to remember this one truth. You can be shy. You can be soft. And still be stronger than anyone ever expected. Today's story reminds us that courage isn't about being fearless, it's about taking a stand even when your voice shakes. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales for more powerful stories like this one.